What's happening, everybody? Sam here for Real Reds Talk. I'm joined by Sherez. We're here for the Manchester United versus Bournemouth preview. And a little peek behind the curtain. I didn't want to do this preview, to be honest with you, because there's only so many times we can talk about United and how it's going to go and what's going to happen, because we all know what's going to happen. We all know what's going to go down. And we got beaten soundly by Bournemouth the last time we played them. So I will try and make it interesting. And I'll try and ask Sherez some interesting questions, because there's not a lot I can go on, but here we are. And it's Nick's favourite team as well, and he's got away with not doing the preview. But yeah, Sherez, how are you, mate? How's it going?
Yeah, doing fairly well now. Need to prepare ourselves for another Manchester United game. Against you would say bottom half team. So you already know how the script is going to go.
Yeah. Similar to Luton, similar to Chelsea, similar to every other team, which is great. But yeah, before we get on to the preview, there was a bit of breaking news today. The Premier League, I'm just going to bring up the actual wording, so I want to get it correct. Premier League has voted unanimously on bringing in semi-automated VAR system. Let me just pull it up. So breaking news, Premier League clubs have unanimously agreed to the introduction of semi-automated offside technology from the next season. They'll introduce the technology next season, but the semi-automated offside will not be ready for the start of the campaign. It's set to be introduced after one of the international breaks. The automated system means assistants will now raise their flags immediately when there is an offside, rather than wait until the phase of play is over. Shreyas, how do we feel about this? Happy? Annoyed? Think VAR should just fuck off at this point? Where are we feeling with this news?
I just need some consistency in the decision making. Like, genuinely, it shouldn't fluctuate from one game to another game or one club to another club. I just want some consistency in the decision making. And, when the lines are being made for offside and subjective and objective offside calls, I think that is something I just, want to get past. And I think we are at a stage right now where when it comes to VAR and, these sort of elements, they are going to be staying. They're not going to be scrapped off. The only plus side is that, because this sort of technology worked quite well during the World Cup, it was quite precise, and a bonus advantage of this is that people who are actually viewing the game as well can actually revisit the clips again and again and actually, actually see it all over again. So it is a lot more accurate and it is a lot more consistent. So that's the only plus side I see to it. But I just want to see it in action in the, how it is going to be worked in the Premier League, because we all know how decisions go by when it comes to decision making in the Premier League and the referees. So I just want to see it in action, and if it is at least consistent, maybe the calls can be questionable, but at least if they're consistent, I would even take that as a win.
Yeah, there's a couple of things with VAR that annoy me. One is the amount of time it takes to make a decision. I think
it either takes 2 seconds or it takes 10 minutes.
Yeah, and you're just like, why is this taking this long? If it's taking that long, surely it's not a clear-cut decision. Surely it's not like a clear and obvious error if you're taking 5-10 minutes to make a decision. And then on top of that, if you just sort of put that to one side, they've taken that long to make a decision, and then 50% of the time they don't get it correct anyway. So you've taken all that time, you've wasted all that time, and then you've made the incorrect decision anyway. So it's like, well, what's the point of this technology? If you're going to take the time to make the correct decision, you've got to have a better hit ratio, because Wolves have been done in God knows how many times this season by VAR decisions. It's absolutely ridiculous the amount of times they've been done in. We've had our fair share of them as well. So it's just, I think if you're going to implement this semi-automated offside, it has to be both things. It has to be quick, which according to the reports is going to be up to 30 seconds quicker, and it has to be accurate. You cannot be relying it down to a machine and then it's just fucking it up worse than the human beings. It has to be internally accurate. And I don't want to see these things where they don't show you the replay, so you don't get to see the fucking mistake that they made. I don't want to see them not drawing lines on when they forget to draw a line on. I don't want to see a wobbly line. Do you remember that? I can't remember what game it was where there was a wobbly line on. I don't want to see any of this shit. I want it to be straightforward, accurate, and if it's like inches or stuff like that, just give the benefit of the doubt to the attacker. Like, I can't be bothered with it anymore. I can't be bothered with a guy being a toe offside. Like, I'm done with that shit. I'm so sick
or
of
fingernail outside.
Yeah, like, I'm just sick of it, man. Like, he's offside or he's not. If he's an inch or two, like, and his finger's off, he's onside as far as I'm concerned. And I hope this automated system makes that clear now, because, my God, it's thing. But there's so many problems with VAR, and the offside is probably the one that they could fix most readily, because obviously the handball rule needs looking at, because I don't even know what that is anymore. I have no idea what that is anymore. The penalty things need looking at. Happened last night with Arsenal. 50% of people saying Saka deserved a penalty. Another 50% of people saying he's dropped a leg to claim the penalty. And then there was that other decision where they did a pass back or something, and then he picked the ball up.
Yeah, Gabriel took... Yeah.
And they're not picking that up. So it's just like you said, so many inconsistencies. And I hope this is the first step in a bunch of stuff to overhaul this system, because I was all for VAR, and now I'm at the point where I'm like, I would happily just get rid of it, because it just fucks games up and it ruins spectacles. I don't celebrate goals anymore. Like, I just don't, because I'm like, a goal goes in and I just go, is he off? Is he offside? And I wait. And it's like, no, he's not offside. All right, okay, now I can celebrate. It's ruined it. Ruined it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is the breaking news. There was a thing on Tyrone last year, but I think we should save that for another show, because there's a lot of detail in it. There's an article by Mark Critchley on Athletic, so if everybody wants to go read it, I do encourage you to go read it. It's fascinating, and it actually tells you and breaks it down, everything that's happened, why he's missing, his injury, all that stuff. So go check that out. We've put a few snippets of it on our socials, so if you want to go look at that as well, but go check the full article out. It's well worth reading. But Shrez, we're here for Bournemouth, Manchester United. United travel down to the Dorset coast on Saturday at 5:30. The first thing I wanted to touch on, obviously the last time we played them at Old Trafford, we were soundly beaten 3-0. And in my opinion, probably one of the worst performances, if not the worst performance of the season. I know we spoke about this briefly yesterday with Chivy. Do you think the Cherries pop the same flaw holes in our system, and it's an essentially repeat of the Old Trafford tie, or do you see something differently?
It's going to be a basketball game all over again. We all know how it's going to go. Like, genuinely, there is no other dimension or outlook or angle I can actually approach this from. I know how they're going to be playing. They're going to be overloading bodies in the midfield, and just play one ball over the top on the flank, and they're into our box altogether. And I just know that they're going to be having like 20-25 shots on target. Like, genuinely, I already know that it's going to happen. It's just going to come down to the fact that how good are they when it comes to their finishing. If they're clinical enough, they can score 3 like they did at Old Trafford. And if they're unlucky like Brentford were, then probably we are able to salvage a point or something. That's the only way it goes.
Yeah, I apologise if anybody's watching and you're like, where the hell is that Shrez's analysis? That is literally it. This is exactly what's going to happen. Like, we've seen it this entire season.
That's how it goes down every single game. Yeah. There's nothing left to actually approach it from.
So it's literally midfield is a suggestion. We chuck all our attackers up and we try, and then we concede 30 shots. And then we just see at the end who's finished more, and that's who wins. That's kind of it at this point.
Yeah, that's it.
But you were talking on clinical finishing there. Dominic Solanke, striker for Bournemouth, he's having a really impressive season on the Dorset coast. He's got 16 goals and 3 assists in 31 games. What is it about him that worries you, that United will have to worry about? And has he impressed you this season?
I think he's been he's been decent considering how Bournemouth play. To actually pull up those sort of numbers, it's quite an achievement. And I think when it comes to coming up against United, right now, because of the figures we have present in that back line, I think it's just hit and miss. Because with players who've got pace, and right now I'm not as worried, because you still got Dalot who's able to track back. You still got Wan-Bissaka. They're still able to soak up a lot of pressure when it comes to just strikers who've got pace. But when it comes to strikers who play with physicality, strikers who they play more when it comes to their positioning, that's where I think this team will actually struggle a lot, because Kambwala had a very decent game, but is still very, very young.
We'll touch on him next, don't we?
Yeah, but I think Solanke can cause a lot of problems. especially, being provided the freedom to just loiter around a box whenever he wants to, if he's in the right place at the right time, I think he can cause a lot of issues to Onana. And I think that the last time that we actually came up against him, he did cause a lot of issues to Onana and the back line. So it can happen again if we actually provide him with the freedom to just, roam into space every single opportunity that he gets.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of sort of people in the team that provide that. You've got the Utada,
Yeah,
is it Ryan Wilson, I think, or Ryan Christie? I can't remember his surname. But you've got a lot of people who will supply him and
yeah,
give him those sort of passes into the box. He's a big lad as well. He's a physically strong guy. Like
exactly.
he's imposing, and he can finish. Like a lot of teams we've faced in a minute, like Brentford have got a clinical finisher in Ivan Toney. Bournemouth have got a clinical finisher in Dominic Solanke. Luton are missing that, aren't they? They don't have that clinical finisher, and I think that's why they fell down against us, even though they dominated most of the ball and attacked us relentlessly.
They don't have that focal point.
Yeah.
That can generate goals for them every single opportunity that they get. But Brentford had that. Brentford were really unlucky. Hit the post, I think, a couple of times.
Hit the bar as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think so once again. But with the way Bournemouth have been playing this season, if you provide them with those sort of opportunities, they can cause you a lot of issues.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the issue because obviously I'm going to speak on Camp Wilder in a minute. We've had what was the stat? Was it 42 different centre back defensive combinations this season? And the ever changing defensive line has been a real big problem, especially like we said, we conceded 31 shots against Brentford, and then the average is like 25, 26, 27 shots a game, which is not conducive to winning games or achieving anything. And especially that changes in the defensive line doesn't help. Like we've had Lissandra out pretty much all season. Maguire's been in and out. Lindelof's been in and out. Varane is in and out. We've had no fit fullbacks for most of the season. Dallow's been our only fit fullback. Wan-Bissaka's finally come back, but if them two get injured, then we're up shit's creek without a paddle. Like I think the next guy who comes in is Shea Lacey, who's a 16-year-old who's currently training with the first team. So I think Dominic Solanke would be licking his lips. I think he'd be looking at our defensive line and changes and just like, yeah, I can get something here. I can get some shots off. The only good thing is Onana, like this is not in the questions, but Onana's pulled himself back from the brink, in my opinion. I think we conceded a lot more goals because considering the amount of shots we've faced, I think we would have conceded a lot more goals if it weren't for Onana. Just talk about Onana because he's really impressed me recently and he's made some really important saves. Considering the amount of shit, and rightly so, that he got at the beginning of the season. What do you think about Onana? Are you like happy with him now? Are you like confident with him in the back?
I think he has definitely redeemed himself because I think still, if anyone actually goes into it and says, "Why are United out of the Champions League this season so soon?"
Yes,
it definitely comes down to him. So to come back from that and to have the sort of performances that he's pulled in now, considering the fact that he the amount of shots that he has to face, genuinely is not. It's genuinely not sustainable enough.
No.
And I think he's been doing a very good job. Even when it comes to his ball playing ability from the back, he's been really decent. He's been very consistent, and I think he definitely has changed the opinion around him a lot, because there was a time this season, I think around Christmas time, that people were already calling for a new goalkeeper next season.
Asking for De Gea back.
Exactly. So now he's come back from that. He's made himself a very, very, he's made his spot in this team quite strong. So, it actually helps us a lot as well, because Ten Hag actually got him in, paid a big price, paid a decent fee for him, and he came in. I think he had a very, very tough start for any new goalkeeper coming into the Prem. He had a very tough start, and with especially now when you look at it, 42 different centre back partnerships, and he's actually still performing week in and week out for us. He has definitely turned around the season, and hopefully he can have a stronger finish to the season.
Yeah, I hope so. Like we're going to need him as well. Like I said, with the shots we can see and stuff, we're going to need him to like sustain anything this season. Like, just imagine if he wasn't there and we concede some of these shots that we are sort of getting on a regular basis. I think we could well be in the Chelsea position, because they're like up shit. Like they just concede goals every single game, and I think we could be in the same boat had Onana not redeemed himself for the rest of the season. I just wanted to touch on Willy Campbell. Really, really impressed me against Liverpool. He got chucked into the fire. Like Liverpool at Old Trafford is never an easy game, but he's really such a bright spark for me. I thought he had an excellent performance, some integral tackles. What do you think he could bring to the squad for the rest of the season and beyond that, like maybe next season? But don't spoil your 11, but would you start him on the Saturday?
I think we have no other option first off but to start him, because we've really not got anyone fit enough to actually start, when it comes to that back line. I think right now I'm genuinely not putting any expectations on him. It's been his first start in the Premier League, and after such a long time, after West Ham, it's been his first start after such a long time. He's not been a player who's been getting regular minutes. He's been used on and off, but he's not someone who's been getting regular minutes. I think now is the time where people can actually evaluate how far, how high his ceiling is, how far he can go. And I think the next 3 games are going to be key for him, because against Liverpool he was absolutely amazing. Now I think this game against Bournemouth is also going to be a pretty tough one for him. So if he's able to pull up with a decent performance in this game as well, I think United might actually have to once again revisit the strategy for the transfer window, because if he's performing as well, then you've probably got a decent enough candidate who can probably slot in as a 4th choice or 3rd choice centre back, and that's what actually matters right now. So right now I genuinely have no expectations on him. He's a very, very young player. He's just come in, just actually starting to get regular minutes. So I do expect him to start, but I think it will still take him time. I don't know if he is going to be coming in and having the impact like Mainu did, absolutely coming in and just being the best player on the pitch. I think it will still take him some time. So it's better not to actually have as high expectations from him, and just give him his time and let him integrate into this team and make his position.
He probably stood out further against Liverpool, because I thought, goal aside, Kobbie Mainoo didn't have a great game in my opinion. I thought it was one of his less games, but obviously he scored an absolute worldie, and if you score that goal, then you can have a shit performance really, and you can sort of get away with it a little bit, which is what Rashford did a lot last season. Didn't have great performances, but came up with goals, so you can kind of forgive that. And I think that's why Willy Campbell stood out a little bit to me, because Kobbie Mainoo was not having a great game. I was going to ask you about the tactical tweaks and stuff like that, but we've covered that in the beginning one. I wanted to chuck a question in, because you've just touched on the youth players and stuff like that. I think that's going to be a focus for United going forward, because we've seen a lot of youth players in first team training this season. You've seen the likes of Shea Lacey, you've seen the likes of Harry Amas, I think who was the young kid, Aganov, I can't pronounce his name. Bunch of other different people. They've all been involved in first team training. I think that might be a look that Ineos are trying to do going forward. They're going to sort of lean much more into our academy stars and look to the academy first. So say we need to replace a certain player or a certain position, we're going to look to our academy first and be like, right, is there anybody that you can come up and step up into this position before we go out and spend money? What are your thoughts on that? Like, do you think that's the right way to go for Man United? Obviously, we've got a history of playing academy players, but I think the last few years we've kind of lost our way. There's not been many graduates out of that system, like Rashford, Scott McTominay.
That's pretty much it from that camp.
Kind of it, isn't
from that
it, really?
camp, that's pretty much it. Now we've got Garnacho, now we've got Mainoo, now we're getting Kambala, but I think it's definitely an element that can be looked into. But it can only be looked into when you have got a stable atmosphere at this club. When you've got, that an environment where these youngsters can actually come in, have the right players around them, have the right environment around them, and then develop alongside those players. Right now, I think for any youngster coming through the ranks and, having to play first team football for United, it's genuinely a very tough task with pretty much everything in haywire. Like, genuinely, there is nothing at this club right now which I'll call that, this is a stable thing, or this is something that can be, built upon and just moved on into the future. We've got some good talents coming through, but I think first off, we just need to create a right environment for all of them. Like, when a youngster is coming through through the ranks at a club like a Man City, you see them, you see how they're going to be put in, you see them getting minutes, and you see how the manager actually projects them on the pitch as well. Right now we don't really have that sort of system at United, and to be quite fair, you can't really have that at United at the moment with the way we've been playing. So I think there are still going to be steps before it that need to be made, so that when these youngsters do come in, they have there's a well thought out plan as to how they'll be put into this team. What is the future going to be for those players?
Liverpool has that system, doesn't it? Like, you look at Liverpool and they've lost a lot of players for injury, but players like Conor Bradley, Jarrod Kwanzaa, I'm sure there's another one I'm missing, Harvey Elliott, people like that.
Yeah.
You've seen major players drop out, Andy Robertson, Trent and stuff, and these kids have come in and they've just took like a duck to water, haven't they? And just fit into the system, because Liverpool have got a clear philosophy. It's like, this is the way you play in the youth system, and then when you step up to Klopp's like first team, this is how you play. And I'm sure they're going to continue that with the next manager, whoever that is. I think they're going to continue that. And then, I hate to compliment Liverpool, but they've got it fucking spot on. And I think that's what we need to aim for. We need to be developing these kids to play like the first team, so that when we have an injury crisis like we do, they can step up and they know exactly what they're doing, because we play the exact same way and there's a feedback system. But obviously, like you said, we've got to create that first, and hopefully that's what Ineos does going forward. Should we do some 11s? Let's do the 11s. Yeah. Oh, I've fucked that up already. While I fix this, do you want to talk us through your 11, Shreyas? I've got yours up on screen.
Yeah, I think the backline, I think we'll both probably have the same one, because we've not got anyone else but to play that. So I'm not even going to touch on the backline anymore. Midfield, I've gone with Casemiro, Menu and Bruno, because I just think this is the only midfield that Ten Hag seems to prefer at the moment, and it's just the way that it's going to go. And when it comes to the attack, I've dropped Rashford, and I think Antony comes in.
I think he's injured
alongside Garnacho.
I think he's injured anyway.
Yeah, so then Antony has to come in.
Yeah.
So it's going to be Antony, Garnacho, and then Højlund up top. And I think Antony even deserves a start. As far as things look right now, he with the way he performed against Chelsea, I think he deserves a start right now. Hopefully he has another decent game. But yeah, I think for me it's going to be Antony and Garnacho on the left-hand side, and then Højlund playing through the middle.
Yeah, I think Antony deserved a start against Liverpool, in my opinion, after the performance previously. I think he did deserve one, but sadly didn't get there. I think I've gone a little bit differently. I'll get into why in a second, but I think you're right. Antony probably does deserve to start, especially with Rashford being injured. I'm not sure how long he's out for. I know Scott McTominay's out for 2-3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks.
I'm not sure what Rashford is, but yeah, I know he's injured. But yeah, that's probably the team he's going to go for, in my opinion. I have changed it a little bit. I'll just put mine up. So I've got the exact same backline, like I said. Doesn't change. The mid, because there isn't anybody else. Physically, there's nobody else, unless you want to chuck Harry Amas in there, which I don't think he'll do.
Yeah, that's it.
Midfield, I've got a little bit different. I've gone Casemiro, Menu. I don't like the idea of Casemiro being in there, but he's not going to play Amrabat, let's face it. He's not going to do it. I've put Mount in the 10. I think he wants... Bruno. Yeah, no. So, I've put Mount in the 10.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so I'm going to play Mount in 10, but I think he needs minutes before the end of the season. He's had these couple of drips and stuff, and I thought he's looked impressive. He looked impressive against Brentford.
Yeah, he's looked good.
Looks good against Liverpool, and I think he deserves an opportunity to start. Maybe he doesn't even play the whole 90 minutes. Maybe he gets taken off at 60, 70. I put Bruno on the right, because obviously Bruno's never getting dropped. It's not happening. So let's be honest with ourselves. And then I thought it was interesting that he didn't play Antony against Liverpool when I thought he deserved to. So that made me sort of sway towards Bruno and Mount playing together. Going to be Garnacho obviously on the left, and then Højlund up front, because we don't have anybody else to play that in that position. So that's my team. But yeah, I think he will go with your team personally, but
most likely.
But it'd be interesting to see if he can start Mount, because I think, like Antony, does deserve a start, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, that is the 11s. Shreyas, all important time. Score predictions. What you got?
I think the 2-2 draw.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And if you actually think about it, even you would say that, most likely.
Yeah. Who's your goal scorers?
I think Højlund and Garnacho. That's it.
2-2. I wasn't going to go 2-2 originally, but that sounds probably correct, to be honest.
Because you know what? There's no way you're getting clean sheet. Definitely not. Yeah.
It could be 2-2. It could be 3-3. Like, it could be, honest to God, I could see it being 3-3. Like I'm gonna go 3-3. Fuck it.
Yeah.
We've scored 3 goals in like 3 different games so far. Scored 3 against Liverpool in the cup. We scored 3 against Chelsea in the league, and then there was 4 goals involved in the Liverpool game. So I could
against Wolves we won 4-3. Against Everton we won 3-0. West Ham we won 3-0.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's fucking ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go
3-2.
Yeah.
Villa 3-2.
3's the magic number, so I'm gonna go 3-3. I'll go Højlund, Garnacho, and then fuck it, Mount get a goal, and then Solanke's definitely scoring a goal. I don't know who else for Bournemouth, but he's definitely scoring a goal. But yeah, I apologize that I can't be more positive. People who are watching in the chat and people who are watching later, because I'm basing it on evidence and I'm basing it on previous form. So like, sue me. I did put a poll in the chat, win, draw or loss. 38% are going win. You're way more positive than me. 38% are going draw, so there's a tie there, and then 25% are going loss. So people think win or draw. That's probably where we're about. It's Simon's in the chat. Mount and Anthony should start. I agree. They both deserve starts. Definitely both deserve starts. But yeah, if you're watching on demand, please drop a line in the comments. Drop us your score predictions, your first 11s, who you play, what you think is going to happen. Drop us a like as well. Subscribe if you're new here. We appreciate all the new people coming on board and interacting with us and watching our content. Nick is back tomorrow. I'm sure there'll be some sort of show tomorrow. Maybe we'll discuss Terrell Malacia. And then Saturday, all the usual pre-match build-up, review, all that good stuff. Please do go check it out. Follow us on socials. They're above my head there. Twitter. Sorry, X. I need to change that logo because it's not fucking Twitter anymore, is it? Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. Follow us on those platforms. Shreyas, anything else you want to bring up or drop?
Yeah, pretty much just stay calm. If you watch the game, once again, stay calm. If you got a weak heart, don't see it. Yeah. Because it's just going to be to and fro on both ends. And if you want to see it like I do most of the games now, just use Twitter. Keep refreshing. Yeah. And after the first 20 minutes, if it's still 0-0, then watch the game. Yeah. if United don't concede in the first 20.
Just forget the game, watch the highlights, and then you know what the score is going to be. So you don't have to have a fucking anxiety attack every 5 minutes as United lose possession and then just get immediately countered on and just concede.
Exactly.
Oh, God. Yeah, life of being a Manchester United fan. But yeah, I want to thank Shreyas for coming on. Thank you for everybody for watching. If you're watching on demand or you watch live, we appreciate your support. We'll be back tomorrow. Quick little one today just because it's a Bournemouth preview. There's not so much I can talk about. Back tomorrow, probably talk about Terrell Malacia. Special guest coming, not next week, the week after. Keep your eyes, keep the lock to everything. Subscribe. Cheers, Shreyas. See you in a bit.
Yeah. See you.